like lights in the world as you hold on to the word of life. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus told his disciples a parable. Can a blind person guide a blind person? Will not both fall into a pit? No disciple is superior to the teacher, but when fully trained, every disciple will be like his teacher. Why do you notice the splinter in your brother's eye, but do not perceive the wooden beam in your own? How can you say to your brother, "Brother, let me remove that splinter in your eye," when you do not even notice the wooden beam in your own eye? You hypocrite! Remove the wooden beam from your eye first. Then you will see clearly to remove the splinter in your brother's eye. A good tree does not bear rotten fruit, nor does a rotten tree bear good fruit. For every tree is known by its fruit. For people do not pick figs from thorn bushes, nor do they gather grapes from brambles. A good person out of a store of goodness in his heart produces good, but an evil person out of a store of evil produces evil. From the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks. The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning, everyone. Deacon Stephen is hobbling around this morning. Had an injury while trying to be fit. I'm now entirely out of commission, so I tore my Achilles tendon, so well, I'll be hobbling for a while from what I understand. One of the complaints that I often hear from teachers in our school district is that the superintendent and the assistant superintendents, and sometimes even site administration, are entirely out of touch with the day-to-day experience of teachers in the classroom. I hear that policies and procedures, the programs that are implemented, some say, they just keep rolling down with the intent to provide support to those in the trenches doing the hard work, but in the end, so often they do little more than crush those upon whose shoulders they fall. The reality, of course, does not only exist in schools. In every large institution, there is this disconnect between those who are creating policy or implementing policy and those who are charged with carrying it out. So often leaders are just, well, they're just out of touch. This might be the case in your own workplace. The complaints I often hear from parishioners about the church sound very, very similar. You know, the Pope in his ivory castle, ivory towers. It seems like all leadership is living in an ivory tower somewhere, right? The popes and the bishops, sometimes even the priests, are so far removed from the day-to-day struggles of the people in the pews. They can become blind to the difficulties, the hardships, and the struggles of hard-working families. This distant style of leadership, this separation that can occur between those who are leading and those who are doing the hard work of following, is harshly condemned in the gospel today. Jesus does not pull any punches as he addresses the hypocrisy of his day. He looks at the leadership and he says, "You hypocrites. How can a blind person guide a blind person?" He accuses them of being blind to the needs, to the struggles, to the difficulties of the people right there in front of him. Jesus asks, won't they both fall into a pit? It's not only hard, but it's foolish to put your trust into leadership who can't see where they're going.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it right now. I think I found the single biggest productivity hack of 2021. It's this Google Chrome extension called Speechify, and it literally does my reading for me.
So let's say
I think that Stevie Wonder is a fantastic musician, but I will not let him lead me to Half Dome. That is not going to happen. Just doesn't quite meet the standard of a guide. You know what I'm saying? In Evangelii Gaudium, Pope Francis says this. This is very important. He says, an evangelizing community gets involved in the people's daily lives. He would say that the leadership, they embrace human life and they touch the suffering flesh of Christ in others. Evangelizers, says the Pope, thus they take on, and I love this, they take on the smell of the sheep. And their sheep, because of it, are willing to hear their voice. Good leadership lives with the people, is invested in the people, and is involved in the people's lives. That's just good leadership. A good shepherd lives among the sheep. And the Pope is calling his leadership to take off the blindfold, to remove the plank from their eye, and to sit with the people that they are called to serve. He wants to close the gap between those who lead and those who are being led. He wants the clergy to hear our voice, to roll up their sleeves, and to be on the journey with us. That's the theme for this year's Synod, walking together as one. That's good leadership. In the school system in which I work, our superintendent does not want to be a blind guide, nor does she want her administrators to be blind. She holds what she calls student synods. I just had mine last week, where a superintendent comes to the site and we sit at a table with 8 to 10 students who just tell the superintendent all the things that are wrong with the school. Yikes. And so I sit there and she says, how's the lunch program? How is the discipline? How, and she says, are the bathrooms? And the kids just start sharing every single bit of their experience from the beginning of their day until the end. She really wants to know what's going on at every school site. And she also meets with teaching staff and she asks the same question. What is going on at your site? How can we make things better? Good leaders listen. I'm in the Teams of Our Lady, and as one of our endeavors in the Teams of Our Lady is called a sit-down. And a sit-down is because we don't sit and listen to each other enough. And married couples need to sit down. One needs to stop talking, hard for me to do, admittedly. And that's why we do it, because we need to hear the other person's experience. We need to hear their struggles, their triumphs, their joys, their sorrows, because that's what good leaders do, and that's successful families and marriages and workplaces. We have a great leader in Pope Francis and in our bishop. Our Pope's answer to healing the blindedness, to removing the wooden beam from our eye, is called the Synod. Our bishop, in solidarity with the Pope, is asking us to speak up, to speak out. He wants to hear our voice, not 8 or 10, but everyone. And my hope is that every person here will be a part of the Synod this year. We are right now in the information gathering stage of that Synod. We are listening. The bishop is listening. And so we need people to take the time to go to the diocesan website and take this survey. I did mine this morning. You just click on the diocese website and it takes you to a survey and you just share. You just share about all the things that are going on at your parish, what's good and what's working and what's not and what needs to be fixed. Another way to participate is by attending a listening session. Each parish, ours included, will be holding listening sessions where people can come and share their experience of being church. Keep an eye on the bulletin and listen for announcements to find out when we will hold ours. Our bishop is asking us to help him remove the blindfold from his eyes. He's asking us to help remove the splinter from the eyes of the diocesan and parish leadership. This is an amazing opportunity for our church. Here's the most beautiful part. Everyone can participate. That's a capital E, everyone. Capital everyone, everything. Listen, not just Catholics. Non-Catholics can participate. And even fallen away Catholics can participate. If you know anybody who says, well, I'm not going to church and this is why, great, get on the website, tell us why. If you've got family or friends who used to go to church but don't go to church anymore, great, get them on the website, fill out the form. We want to hear how to make us better. We want to make sure that we're able to support and meet the needs of people in the pews. And if there are things, if you've ever stood in the parking lot and thought, well, I wish the church would do this, now's your chance.
My name is Scott Harrison.
Just listen.
This is my wife.
Get on the website. Please fill out the form. Let us hear your voice. We want to get better. That's why I'm asking always for parishioner feedback, even on my homilies. You're all welcome to go to my website, click on their Contact Me button, and just tell me what you think, good or bad. The curse of every homilist is to only hear the good things. Right? People tell you what's good. When they're upset, they grumble and walk out the door. That doesn't help us get better. We need to be hearing the truth from all parts of the pews. Our church, listen to me, is amazing. But that doesn't mean it can't be better. I'm appreciative and I'm proud of a church that listens, because listening is the first step to seeing more clearly. Amen?